Hi guys, this is Mr. Urrego, and today we're going to learn how to use reference angles to evaluate trigonometric functions. Alright, let's go. So the idea is to use a reference angle to find the exact value of this function, which is sine of 135. Okay, there are going to be two steps. The first step is to find the reference angle. So sine of 135 is greater than 90, less than 180, so we're going to have something like this. And that's going to be 135 degrees. My reference angle is whatever is missing to get to 180. So 180 minus 135 is 45 degrees. So that's my theta prime that I've been calling it, right? So that's my reference angle. Got it. Second, find the sign of the function in the correct quadrant. So this is Q2. Q1, x is positive, y is positive. Q2, x is negative, y is positive. Q3, x goes to the left, so it's negative, and y is negative because it goes down, right? Q4, my x is positive, and my y goes down, so it's negative. So those are the signs of the forced quadrants. Keep that in mind. So in my case, Q2, we're talking about the sign, therefore is the y value. So my sign is positive here. So my sign is positive, therefore sine of 135 is the same as positive sine of my reference angle, which is 45 degrees. And sine of 45 degrees is square root 2 over 2. Please check my unit circle, the other video, or the 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. So therefore, the original question was 135 degrees. Sine of 135 is the same as sine of 45, which is square root 2 over 2. So this is my final answer. Let's do one more. Reference angles to find the exact value of cosine of 4 pi over 3. We have the graph. Two steps, the same idea. 4 pi over 3. This is greater than pi. So this is pi, right? Because my denominator is 3, then it's 3 over 3. So I have 3 over 3 right now, but my angle is 4. Therefore, I'm going to have one more. And this is pi over 3. 3 pi over 3 plus pi over 3 gives me 4 pi over 3. So the reference angle is pi over 3. Now, if you're not sure how I did that, then what you do is you take the 4 pi over 3, and because you know that it's greater than pi, you said, all right, let me take pi out of it. But you know that pi, I can make it into 3 pi over 3. Now, once I have 4 pi over 3 minus 3 pi over 3, that's going to give me pi over 3, and this is the reference angle. Okay, I'm going to call that theta prime. Reference angle, my first step. Second, find the sign of the function in the correct quadrant. So as you notice, we are in Q3. Here, my x is negative because it goes to the left, right? And my y is negative because it goes down. So my signs are negative, negative. My cosine, which is the x, is negative, and my sine, which is the y, is negative. We're doing cosine, so that means my cosine is going to be negative, so I put it in the beginning of my function. So cosine of 4 pi over 3 is the same as negative, because I'm in Q3, and my cosine is negative. And what's my reference angle? Pi over 3. Now, what's cosine of pi over 3? That's the correct question. So pi over 3, let's make this triangle. Here we go. Okay, and this is pi over 3. Don't forget the pi over 3 is the same as 60 degrees. So this is 60, opposite is square root 3 over 2, and adjacent is 1/2. And what I'm looking for is cosine. My cosine is the x value, so it's 1/2. Therefore, negative cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. That's my final answer. Let's go. Tangent of 14 pi over 3. Now, what's going to happen here is the following. If you notice, this is greater than a revolution going around. So finding the reference angle, make sure you go back to reference angles of video. Okay, so you practice that. So it's 14 pi over 3. So let's go fast. This is 3 pi over 3. And another 3 gives me 6 pi over 3. and another 3 gives me 9 pi over 3. And if I go another 3, 9 plus 3 is going to give me 12 pi over 3. I need to get to 14. If I know another 3, 12 and 3 gives me 15 pi over 3, and I went too far. So let's stop here. And I'm here at 12 pi over 3. Now to get from 12 pi over 3 to 14 pi over 3, to get to from 12 pi over 3 to 14 pi over 3, I need to add 2 pi over 3, right? So this will be 2 pi over 3, which is something like this. So my right angle is 2 pi over 3. Now I need to find the reference angle of that, right? And the reference angle is whatever my terminal side makes with the x-axis. So my terminal side is this. This is the reference angle. If this is 2 pi over 3, what's missing to be equal to pi? 2 pi over 3 plus something gives me 3 pi over 3. Remember, the whole thing here on the top is pi, which is 3 over 3. Therefore, I'm missing a pi over 3. And that's my reference angle. That's my theta prime. Okay? Done. Pi over 3. Tangent. Find the sine of the function in the correct quadrant. I'm doing quadrant 2. Q2. My x, remember, goes to the left, so it's negative. And the y goes up, so it's positive. Okay? My tangent is sine over cosine. My sine is positive, my cosine is negative. Therefore, tangent is sine over cosine. But in this case, the sine is going to be positive and my cosine is going to be negative. Therefore, my tangent gives me negative. Alright, so my tangent on Q2 is going to be negative. Negative tangent. Alright, so I have my reference angle, which is pi over 3. So let's rewrite it. So tangent of 14 pi over 3 is the same as negative tangent of my reference angle, which is pi over 3. And now I have this. Now let's work with this. Let's erase all this. Pi over 3. Let's make this triangle. This is pi over 3, which is the same as 60 degrees. Opposite is square root of 3 over 2. Adjacent, 1/2. Tangent is sine over cosine, right? And sine is the same as the opposite in this case, and cosine is the adjacent. So let's rewrite this. Negative tangent of pi over 3 is the same as negative opposite over adjacent, which is sine over cosine. Opposite, square root 3 over 2 over adjacent, which is 1/2. Okay, let me give you a trick. If I want to divide fractions, first one times the last one, right? That's going to give me 2 square root of 3. The middle ones, multiply them and they go on the bottom. Okay, so the middle ones are the 2 times 1. Simplify, and that gives me square root of 3. But I almost forgot that I have a negative in front. So this should be negative, and this should be negative. So tangent of 14 pi over 3 is the same as negative square root of 3. Okay? Last but not least, let's work on the last one. Guys, if you're still with me, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you're learning, let me know. Comment. Alright, let's do the last one. Secant. If you notice, we're doing very difficult problems. They're not simple. They're not simple. They're very difficult. So feel good if you're getting what I'm saying right now. If not, make sure you review the video. Alright, so reference angle. Now we go in negative. Over 4. So this is negative 4, negative 8, negative 12, negative 16. Negative 16 pi over 4. We need to get to negative 17. So that means we have to go one more. One more. So this is negative pi over 4 because negative 16 minus 1 is going to be negative 17. So this will be my reference angle. But remember, my reference angle is always the positive angle that my terminal will make with my x-axis. So now I know that this is negative, but in our case, the reference angle is going to be positive pi/4. Secant is 1 over cosine. Q4, that's the quadrant that I'm talking about. Q4, my cosine is positive and my sine is negative, but I'm talking about cosine, therefore my cosine is positive and my secant is positive. So secant of negative 17 pi/4 is the same as positive secant. What's my reference angle? Pi/4. Okay? Pi/4. Secant is the same as 1 over cosine of pi/4. 1 over cosine of pi/4 square root 2 over 2. Okay? We know that by now. Unit circle or 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. Let's work with this. I have 1 over square root 2 over 2. So what I do is I multiply times the reciprocal on the top, which is flipping the fraction. 1 times this gives me 2 square root 2. Let's rationalize. Times square root 2 on the bottom, times square root of 2 on the top. The top gives me 2 square root 2. And the bottom, 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Can I simplify those 2's? Yes. My final answer is square root 2 and it's positive. Therefore, secant of negative 17 pi/4 is the same as square root of 2. Alright guys, we've done a lot of problems, very difficult some of them. I hope you get the idea. Ask questions, like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know how you're doing on pre-calc or trig, if this is high school or college, or if this is geometry. You never know. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.